Well, it's that time again. Garage Gym Tour 2025 version 2, minus the quick pans that I do a few times a week on Instagram stories or shorts. But, I got some newer equipment and I just wanted to share as an add on to the Garage Gym Tour that I did back in January. So, a little bit about myself. I am not a YouTube equipment reviewer or anything of the sort. I'm just a 40 something that like to work out. I was a frequent gym goer, and like most, once COVID hit, I I didn't know what was going on. So I used to work out in my living room, and then the gyms finally opened back up. But I had found a love for that focus of just being able to work out in the living room. I had turned parts of my patio into a gym. I had a power tower in my bedroom. It was crazy, but I knew then that, man, although I enjoy going to the gym, the friendships, the camaraderie at the gym, I could really lock in on my own. So, you know, I had to move from my last condo. I had somebody stand over me. And if you've ever had a situation like that, if they got issues with like leaks and stuff like that, then you got issues. And then it was this thing with my insurance. And I said, I got to move. So sold that place. And I said, when I buy again, I'm going to get a garage. And I had started like setting funds aside back in 2020. So I knew, when I did get a garage, I would have something that, I would be able to mimic everything I was doing in the gym, the commercial gym here at home. And plus, my family, my girl works out. So I wanted to get pieces of equipment that was easier for her to use. My son, he's 13. So for him to come in here, I wanted to do that. So yeah, got some newer stuff, and we'll get into it. So as of last week, I got the Rep Adonis. Now, side note, my rack that I have the option in order to, have an extender and it has a seat. But it's kind of weird, how it's put together. You got to move the cable to put the seat on and things like that. So I was eyeing a standalone lat machine, and I wanted some versatility to it. So I went with the Rep Adonis. So now what I do is I wanted something actually to have a little bit more stretch in the pull. And the only thing that I don't do is I don't like that I have to sit on the floor to do the rolls. So I just still use the rack when I do my rolls. Yeah, there's that. About 2 weeks ago, I had picked up the leg extension and prone leg curl from Temple of Gains. I can say, based off what I heard and what I experienced, man, their customer service there, Yanni, is spot on. I had ordered the seated one at first, and I didn't read the little note. And as soon as I ordered it, they had messaged and said, "Well, that's not. Just so you know, it won't be here till July." And I said, "Hey," I went on Instagram. I said, "Is it possible for me to change to the prone?" Because I wanted the prone anyway. But I just, when you're trying to measure things out, you don't know for sure. But I measured it out, and I knew that I could have had the prone, and they changed it just like that. So the only issue I had nothing to do with Temple of Gains. I had went through a Thumbstack and ordered a contractor, and he didn't know what he was doing. So ultimately, I went back to my regular handyman, and we were able to get it together, and I love it, man. I had other leg extension, leg curl combos. I had the Sadie version, I had the Gronk version, and ultimately I just wanted a selectorized version. I have nothing bad to say about those other versions. So if you do have those, they were just as good. But I'm no expert. Like I said, I'm a 40 something that just work out. So, but yeah, this one's, man, it's smooth. It's quick. I like to be able to move in and out of my workouts. So, there's that. Now, I know the big thing is wall control, but I got a crap load of attachments, but they're all right here on this body solid attachment tree. So I got my ropes, I got my fake mag grips, I got a bunch of rep, attachments that I use and things like that. And then I got like the longer lat pull down. And I got some of the attachments that came with my rack itself. So they're just accessible. You know, I put them right there. And then I wanted to make sure when I measured it out, because I had just got the Adonis, that I would, just be able to get over here to them when needed them, so I can use them for the Adonis or for my rack. So yeah, I know wall control is a thing, but as you'll see, I got a lot of stuff on the wall. So I had gone over this one in the first gym tour. It's pretty much the Sadie leg press hack squat combo. It's pretty cool. It's easy to maneuver from one to the other. You just hit that latch right there and you just pull this seat down, and man, very sturdy. I'm not gonna say, a lot of people say built like a tank. I just know it's sturdy. I know that. I know GMWD has one, but it's the exact same one, but I haven't had any issues with it. Over here is cardio corner. I have the 1750 Nordic Track treadmill, like I had mentioned in my first review or gym tour. I've always had Nordic Tracks and never had any issues. I remember I had a Nordic Track, I believe it was a 1250, and that was like in my living room, at the smaller apartment that I had. I was a single dad. My son was 2 years old, so he'll be in his room sleep. So I would get up in the morning and go for a run. So when it was time to get another treadmill, I went with that. This is the Stairmaster 4G. Now, bit of a backstory. I used to have the Stepper Plus. I have no complaints about the Stepper. Only complaints that I have are the Steppers that I had. So when I first bought the Stepper, when I moved here, they delivered it and they had to take it back because the monitor, the big monitor display that they had, man, it wasn't working. The second one, that was on me. If you don't know, Saturdays and Sundays, and before I had a home gym, I was a frequent stair runner, long periods of time. It was just very therapeutic for work. I was working on my doctorate. I could just get out there on the stairs. It was right outside the door of my older condo. So I said, when I get a garage gym, I'm going to get some type of stepper. Went with the Stepper Plus. Man, I got on that joint a couple of times and tried to do the same intensity on there that I would do outside, and it just didn't hold up. That man versus machine, and I won, I guess. But the third, they swapped it out. Now the third one, I thought I started hearing the noise. The thing about me was I didn't go to Stepper. I went to Orange Fitness. It's up north, and you would buy it for there. You would still be able to get the warranty and things like that. So the guy said, man, I got something a little better, something a little bit more durable. How about I come pick that one up and we'll swap it out for the Stairmaster 4G. Haven't had any complaints. Now, I don't have the same monitor, anything like that. It's just an LCD, but for the type of workouts that I do, 30, 50 minutes on here, no issues, man. This is real, as they say, commercial grade. So if you are in the market for a stepper, check it out. If not, then don't check it out. I got a lot of dumbbell action in here. Now, during COVID, like most, I was just trying to get my hands on all of the dumbbells that I could. So I got a couple of different, 25s, 55s, and 60s from Dick's Sporting Goods. I got some 70s and 80s from Rogue, and then 95s and 100s from Rogue as well. And then I got the Reppins up to the 125. Now some people say, man, why don't you get rid of the fixed dumbbells? I don't want to. But I still kind of use them for certain things. And then when it comes to the Reppins, back at the commercial gym, I'm older now, but I still throw in like the, 110s, 115s, 125s on chest day, some heavier shrugs. And then I have those. I got the dumbbells on an Ethos, stand. I don't know why I went with that, but you want to get a stand that kind of holds up, especially when you got like the heavier dumbbells on each rack. And then I went with the Black Widow cart. So I have no complaints. This is another newbie. This is the GMWD 3-in-1. I originally had the version 2. It was just the incline. I got real bad shoulders. So, I when this one came out, and the crazy thing was, I had the version 2. I saw that they had the flat one, but I couldn't fit it in here. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna get rid of the version 2 and get the flat one. And then they came out with this one, and it was sold out. And then you get an email saying, hey, you can order it, but it'll come in like a couple of months. I ordered it, and it came like a week later. Same freaking thumbstack contractor told me the same thing that he told me about the Temple of Gains joint. They told me the screws didn't fit, but luckily my handyman, this thing is awesome. It has a little hydraulic joint on the back. I'm pretty sure you've seen some reviews about them. But one thing that I did is I put these white markings on the back so I'll know exactly, where I'm working, So that works for me. So you can hydraulic it down, and then the seat does the same. Pretty smooth transition from one exercise to the next, if that's your thing. Also, I have the Sadie. It's like the shoulder machine and the side lat raise. Now, the difference between this one and this one, because you might say, hey, this one does shoulder, it's just kind of low on my shoulders because I got like the bursitis and the AC joint issues. So I just don't like it. Now I tell you what I do now. This little dandy that I do is I'll do individual with the palms and grip, and I'll do those. But, for this one, I can't part with it. And it's light, it's easy to move around. So yeah, a little shoulder press joint. This right here is the X-Mark seated calf raise. I guess there is some science behind it not being as effective. I don't know the science, I like them. Got it off Facebook Marketplace, ain't had no complaints. This is the Jacked Up Fitness Extreme. Man, they just came out with a whole new line of racks. I don't know if they like screw us or what, but I like the rack. I do. I don't have any issues with it. It has a lot of different features, as I mentioned before. I like that it has the Smith machine. It's 2-to-1, 1-to-1 once you clip these together. It goes to a 200 pound stack. It comes with, your different attachments, dips, safety, all that stuff, man. So I don't have any issues with it. It also has a multi-grip pull-up joint. So, and right here I have the quick draws for accessory work on the rep. It's like the cart. I didn't get because I already have the Black Widow. And the reason I got the cart, if you can see, the dumbbells that my girl uses, because she doesn't really like the reppings or the quick draws. Like, it's odd work, but the dumbbells that she uses, we just put them in there. We wheel the cart out, and then I had got the cart so I can just kind of move it around. When I want to do certain things, I could just move the cart out of the way. So that's why I went with the rep portable cart. What I have here is the Bowflex 2080. It's just the adjustable curl bar, straight bar machine. I love it because I used to use the fixed, barbell at the gym. So this one is it goes from 20 to 80 pounds, but you get the extender. So it just goes up, you just adjust it from 20 up to 120. So, great option to have. Fitness gear bands. Just got them on this weird band tree, but these are cool because they got like the weight, for the resistance on the band. So it have 40, 50, 70, 100s. Then I got the regular ones, on the other side. Not a real big bar guy. I just got the bars that I use. I got the 1 bar, open trap bar, arch and nemesis. Right here I have a Titan Fitness roaming chair that I use, and I whip that out, to do hyper extensions. Important piece of equipment that I have. This is the storage rack that I have. And I got pretty much everything on here. Most of my clamps, I have them on here. The magnetic ones that I have, I just stick them on here. I have these Titans, twist lock joints. Those are pretty cool. Landmines, push-up assisted joints. I got my whole anchor section over here where I use the anchors. I have the Pro and the regular one. I have an X3 bar for resistance. All of my things are on here, man. The multi-attachment joint, and I have the Kaizen one, so yeah. My Titan Fitness roll stand, I have a Stamina plyo box, and I got all my shoes in there. I got my lighting that I use that I never use when it comes to, social media lighting and stuff like that. And I have all my magnetic, when I mount my phone, if I'm recording, because I record my workouts and stuff like that. Yeah, it's all right here. I try to keep it in one section. I don't want to have anything on the ground. I got my tripods and everything on some magnetic joints over there. And that's pretty much it. When it comes to those magnetic hooks, I use the heck out of those. You can see over here, these magnetic hooks, I got a bunch of them. So I'll put, my Rep D handles are on there. These individual isolated attachments. I even got these from Amazon. These are pretty cool. They're weird looking. Don't get me wrong, but they're cool though. I have my anchor. This just holds the pucks, but I also put the pucks over here as well. So when I'll throw them on the rack, do some accessory work. Lighting, weird lights that I use when I do some of my videos and stuff like that. Yeah. First, but like most people, I have the horse stall mats with the Gorilla Tape. My garage is weird. It's a tandem garage with a bump. So, my girl still parks there. And the way that I have it out, I had to cut a couple of the horse stall mats. So I got about 17 mats in here. I would say, depending on how it is, because like I say, the bump starts right there. And then I have this whole area over here. It's kind of like a 17 by 19. So yeah, I got a lot packed in here. But like I said, my goal was to be able to mimic what I was doing at the commercial gym here at home. And I knew that I wanted, some sort of commercial grade machines, the selectorized machines. Sometimes I just want to get down here, get a quick workout in, be on my way. I also have like a pop-up sauna in the bathroom. We have a bathroom downstairs. So I use that a couple of times a week. And I ain't no complaints, man. Like I love it. So I come down here, pop the TV on, it swivels around, get a good workout in, and it just makes it a lot, easier just to come down here and get it done and versus making the excuse. I can't tell you, I haven't been to a gym in over a year since I moved here. Like I canceled all memberships. I know my girl canceled hers, but if you look around, and I'll show you. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff on the walls. I got a lot of banners and, some custom made signs that I would have make up, like just stuff that I deemed funny. My girl, I lost the deal on the office, so she has the extra room for the office. So my desk is in the computer over in the corner by the living room, but I got my degrees and stuff up there. Some other signs that I had custom made, stuff that I thought that was pretty entertaining to my weird sense of humor. One of my favorite movies, you know it. If you ain't first, you're last. Some other banners that I have up here. I thought those were pretty cool. Just kind of liven the place up. Another Another custom made sign, and then a lot of ones that I just had made based off of quotes and things like that that I, thought was inspirational to me. Cardio corner. Uh, yeah, just a bunch of random stuff on the wall. Dr. B's lifting club. I got that from a buddy of mine when, I left my job at the last university that I worked at. And I was like, man, if I ever move, I'm going to get me an epic garage gym. So he had got me that before I had even, closed the deal on this new spot. But that's pretty cool. I like that one. You've probably seen that before. I just took, the head off of a picture that I drew of myself and I put it on there. And then just some other banners. When I had bought this leg machine from Temple of Games, they gave you this big banner, so that's pretty cool. So I just used the magnet, put it on the back of the rack. That was that was pretty cool. And this one, I bought this one for my son. Go hard or go upstairs into your room. But that's pretty much it. Pretty sure I missed something. I apologize, but yeah, that's this is the spot. I usually get down here early in the morning, get a workout in, then I'll come back down here in the evening and go for like a walk. Then I know my girl, she works out at 7 p.m. So that's it. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.